So we're going to go over our answers for our Everglades domain-specific vocabulary. The page numbers were listed here for you, so I'm going to pull open my Journeys book and go right to page 239 to start looking for my answers. So the first word was thermoregulate. What does thermoregulate mean? So I'm going to look at my book. I'm going to zoom in here so we can see it a little bit more clearly. And I'm going to look for the word thermoregulate. So I'm just going to scan through the paragraph because it's a pretty long word, and there it is, thermoregulate. Hingas hold their hold out their wings to thermoregulate or regulate their body temperature by soaking up the sun's energy to keep their bodies warm. So what does thermoregulate mean? Here we have this signal word or that helps us identify that a synonym is given to us in our sentence. So thermoregulate means to regulate or control their body temperature. Thermo meaning temperature. Okay, so thermoregulate means to regulate or control one's body temperature, which is what I placed here. Let's look on page 240 for distance above the ground. Okay, so coming on page 240, I'm going to look for something that has to do with above ground. So, as I'm reading, water that covers much of the land, the animals spread out because the water that carries their food is spread out. The Everglades has wet and dry seasons, but it also has wetter and drier areas caused by how high the land is above the water level. Even a few inches of elevation can make a difference in how wet or dry the soil remains throughout the year. These differences in moisture help create unique habitats, each with its own special set of plants and animals. So when I find the word elevation here, there's not a lot of clues in this sentence. Even a few inches of elevation can make the difference in how wet or dry the soil remains throughout the year. So we have to read around the word elevation and look for other clues. So I'm going to back up here. The Everglades has wet and dry seasons, but it also has wetter and drier areas caused by how high the land is above the water level. So let's use some thinking here. Higher areas, is the land going to be wetter in a higher area or drier in a higher area? Think about where puddles lay in a parking lot. They usually lay where there's a pothole or a dip in the parking lot. So when we take that knowledge that we have, our own experiences, we can say that elevation must mean how high or low the land might be. So I'm going to come over here, the distance above the ground. That sounds like elevation. So I'm going to type in elevation here, which I've already done. I also found the word habitats while I was reading, so I need to have a definition for habitats. Many of you probably know the definition for habitat, but we're going to come over here and check just to be sure. These differences in moisture help create unique habitats. Unique meaning different, unusual, each with its own special set of plants and animals. So there's clues right in this sentence. What is a habitat? A habitat is a place with its own special set of plants and animals, just like I have typed here. Areas where plants and animals live. The last one that you needed to find the answer for was a word to describe muddy water after mixing fresh and salty water together. That can be found on page 241. So when I jump to page 241, I'm going to reread here. And remember, we want to know when the water is mixing, what happens. So when I look at this, here I see fresh rainwater flows toward these areas and mixes with the salty ocean water. Isn't that what my description said? Muddy water after mixing fresh and salty water together. Okay, well, where does this happen? This happens in mangrove swamps. This makes the water in mangrove swamps brackish. Okay. What is the water described as? It is described as brackish water. Sorry, I clicked the wrong tab there. So brackish is describing what the water looks like after they have mixed together. So that's how we found all of our answers. I hope you got them right. If not, please fix them now. This should be used as a study guide for you for your test tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, because you're watching this video on Thursday. I'm making it on Wednesday. All right, if you have any questions, please let me know.